But look, you can't be bullish about him. They still got Eric Gonzalez, Cole Tucker. Okay, Newman really got the role in late May, and from June 1st, he hit 301 with 11 homers and 15 steals. Okay, so there's doubt about his chances to repeat a double-digit home run season, especially if there's a new ball. He ranked in the bottom 5th percentile of hitters in both exit velocity and hard hit velocity. So if you're counting on Newman to be a star based upon what he did last year with his 12 homers and 16 RBI stolen bases, I'm not doing it. 285, 10 homers. That's not bad, but don't expect him to do better than he did last year. It's not going to happen. Holy mackerel, this Cincinnati. They've spent over $100 million so far. At third base, Eric Gonzalez is there, but Colin Moran is going to get another shot, and he has been, I would say, a bit of a disappointment. Colin Moran, bit of a disappointment. My projections on Moran as a Pittsburgh Pirate, once again, I'll give him a 275 batting average. Yeah, I'll give him 275. I'll give him about 10 to 15 home runs. He's nothing special. It's basically, I don't expect him to improve off last year where he hit 270 something, 77, 78. He had 13 homers. He's not going to be any better. 6'4", 205. He's 27 going into his peak power year. But look, he had 80 RBIs. That was the only positive. Okay? His strikeout rate was up nearly 6 percentage points from the previous year. So to me, he didn't make any progress. Okay? But he didn't lose, in spite of the fact that his strikeouts went up, he didn't lose much in batting average. But I will tell you, he deserves to hit around 250. If you take a look at his numbers and really add a lot, 250. That's what he deserves to hit. So I'm not going all out on Colin Moran. Starling Marte we talked about, so let's Brian Reynolds, are you kidding me? Now this guy really came out of nowhere. Anybody have Brian Reynolds? Yeah, Moran stinks, okay? How we doing, Phil? K. Brian Hayes, about June. We'll talk about him in a second. All right, now how am I doing, Phil? Colin Moran. All right, let's talk about Brian Reynolds. He surprised. Anybody know about Brian Reynolds last year? Anybody? I had Brian Reynolds. Yes, I picked him up in Tout Wars. In a remarkable Tout Wars season where I picked up great players and still wound up with a stinking record. 25 years old. He will hit you around 300. Now, if you take a look at his minor league mark, 300 every year. He's a 300 hitter. He was acquired from the Giants, by the way, in the Andrew McCutchen trade. He opened up in Indianapolis where he was hitting .367 with 5 homers in 13 games. And then he called up when Starlin Marte got hurt. He'll only hit you about 15 homers and steal you 5 bases. But he just, forget it. Had an 11-game hitting streak. Okay? Finished the year batting .314. But he struggled down the stretch. He hit .230 in the month of September. So, he's not a flashy pick. He's a switch hitter. And I don't think he could, look, especially in an only league, he's not going to hurt you at all. Too many times these picks in an only league will actually hurt you. They'll actually hurt you more than help you. The other outfielders in Pittsburgh, Gregory Polanco, boy, is he a forgotten man. Does anybody, by the way, how much should we bid on Marte? Gregory Polanco, is he a forgotten man? Is everybody afraid to draft Polanco? Anybody afraid to draft Gregory Polanco? Has that injury-prone tag stuck with him. He's going to hit you about 250, hit you about 13 to 15 home runs. Got that injured shoulder. He'll steal you 7 to 10 bases, but he's been throwing up to 120 feet without an issue. That was at the end of December. Recovering from shoulder surgery. 42 games is all he played last year. He's on track to have no restrictions heading into spring training, but it's a far guarantee that his upcoming year will be smooth. Okay? So dislocated his shoulder in 2018 and really wasn't right since then. He rehabbed on his shoulder. He delayed his debut till the end of April, but then went back on the injured list in the end of June. So anybody interested in Polanco? Will anybody go $10? How much we going on Gregory Polanco? Gregory Polanco in a mixed league, $260 format. Anybody going on Gregory Polanco at all? I do believe that Arnie will be coming up next. I believe that Brooks Santinello has just fainted when he saw the Dow Jones average is going to open up and probably put everybody in hock. That's another story. So anyway, as we move along, so that's anybody going in on Polanco. Now, who are the outfielders on the Pirates that may be sitting waiting in the wings? Is there anybody waiting in the wings with Polanco? You got Jason Martin. Guillermo Heredia could be an interesting pick. Guillermo Heredia could be a very interesting pick. Now, this guy is not well known anywhere, but if you're going to take one of the secrets in taking reserve picks is go ahead and take Marte. Go ahead and take Polanco. But Guillermo Heredia, after 3 seasons with Seattle, he joined Tampa. He's in that 5-player trade. Changed the scenery, did nothing for him. He made some gains in the power department, okay, but still below average. He's been a negative base runner, 6 out of 18 stolen bases, but his defense is terrible. He struggled to hit everywhere he's been, and he's 28. So there's really nobody that I'm jumping on as far as what happens. I would take Marte, especially Polanco, if I knew I could get his backup. But his backup's not any good. So I would stay away from Polanco. If you have confidence in your drafting ability, don't waste it on Polanco. All right, let's get to the pitchers on a pitching staff that is, I'll say, disappointing last year. Okay, you got Joe Musgrove, the sinker baller, Trevor Williams, Chris Archer, Mitch Keller, Chad Kuhl could be back. Let's go with Musgrove for a second. I don't really, none of these guys really jump off the page, although they are National League pitchers. So I'll give him that. Joe Musgrove, you look for Musgrove to have a 3.9 ERA, a 1.2 whip, 160 strikeouts. His skills look better than his numbers. Second straight year where his FIP was at least a half run lower than his ERA. Okay? He didn't do a good job about stranding base runners. He allowed 4 or more earned runs in 9 of his 31 outings. He had a 7 ERA for the 3rd time through the lineup. His slider improved, but 3rd time around, he was very hittable. Not a lot of confidence in Musgrove at all. Now, Trevor Williams is a different story. If I'm going to speculate on any pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, it very well could be Trevor Williams, and I'll tell you why. Okay? I had Trevor Williams. I can't remember if I had him last year. Can't remember if I had him last year. But Trevor Williams is a guy who I think could be the star of this pitching staff. And here's why, okay? I'm going to project him to have a 3.9 ERA with a 1.3 whip, 120 strikeouts. He can sign the 1-year deal to avoid arbitration. But in 2018, okay, He was terrific. 2019 he was nothing. He finished the year with a 5.3 ERA. Okay, the juice ball killed him. And if there's no juice ball, maybe it won't kill him. 27 home runs. He allowed 15 home runs in 2018. Okay? He found a little success in 2018. He limited the amount of hard hits allowed. Okay? So his fastball velocity was up to 91.5. So strikeout rate was up to about 10.5. This kid could rebound and become a very serviceable pitcher. If you're trying to get a good pitcher late in the draft, I would take my chances with Trevor Williams. Okay, Chris Archer, the enigma. His name is still bigger than who he is. And to me, Chris Archer, if you're looking for strikeouts, okay, maybe Chris Archer could fill the bill. But overall, Chris Archer, 31. He'll get you about 170 strikeouts. Look, he's never been a great strikeout pitcher. His shoulder was always been a problem, but he's fully healthy. He had low strikeouts. Okay, optimism of Archer turns into disappointment. Durability is taking him to a downward spiral. He's averaged only 134 innings the past 2 seasons. He had a career low 119 innings last year. His 27% strikeout rate. His walks jumped up through the ceiling. 25 home runs. He's 31. At that point, Chris Archer ain't getting any better. But he still has the name that will make you draft him. And finally, you got Mitch Keller. Oh, baby, Mitch Keller. Now, here's the thing about Mitch Keller. 23 years old. A lot of chatter about Keller. And he had unlucky 48 innings in Major League Baseball. That's what they're saying. He had a 474 BABIP against him. Mitch Keller. So don't even count last year. 474 BABIP. Okay? Over 12 strikeouts per 9 innings. So, and he couldn't use his secondary pitches because he really wasn't even ahead in the count a lot. So, if he changes his pitching philosophy so he can throw more sliders and curveballs, he could be a very interesting pitcher. I would absolutely. He pumps up his four-seamer up in the zone. He's got some secondary pitches. Mitch Keller could be a very interesting pitcher. So the only 2 pitchers that I would go in for Pirates would be Mitch Keller and Trevor Williams. As far as prospects are concerned, O'Neal Cruz, the 21-year-old shortstop who last year played in Double-A. I'll get to Brian Hayes, but O'Neal Cruz, he's got a very high ceiling. He didn't have a great year, okay, in 2019, but I got to tell you, he's 6'7". They call him the Galloping Gazelle. He's got to stay healthy. He missed time with a foot fracture and had some lower body issues. His hit tool is a bit of concern, but we'll see what happens. He was promoted to Altoona, lost a lot of his power, but, look, his walk rate went up. Keep in mind, this kid is a shortstop. He's big. His position will change. So his name, once again, O'Neal Cruz. Brian Hayes, who last year played at Triple-A, you'll see him this year. It was 2 seasons, and he had a lot of injuries, okay? It took a while to get going against Triple-A pitching, but by the end of the year, he really did good. He was able to hit .327 in 28 games in early August, and 7 of his 10 home runs coming in July and August. So it was his first season that Brian Hayes was able to get into double-digit home runs, and we saw he had a great preseason last year. So keep an eye on this kid. he could wind up playing third base for Colin McCann. Quinn Preister, who last year played at low A in West Virginia, right near Phil Chaplin. Did you see this kid? Quinn Preister, 19 years old, 18th overall pick in 2019 draft.